discussion, I have also checked with them. Madam, are you going to market the MRA program or the CPA Australia? They told me that don't worry, Parasha, it is only an MRA mutual recognition agreement program only. We are not here to market the CPA Australia. Yes. So to that extent, the institute is also owing a lot to CPA Australia for recognizing our institute for a mutual recognition agreement. Obviously, our members have to maintain, has to appear for some 3 or 4 papers, balancing papers, which are focusing on taxation and law, prevailing corporate law and indirect taxes like that in Australia. So, I would like to take the privilege of introducing our speakers, main speaker today. Preeti Dawn is a basically educational consultant, providing her valuable services apart from other organizations. So CPA Australia also. She is specializing in educational field relating to Australia. And she is a business head, professional connect. She provides complete business development services to various organizations, professional bodies and universities in Australia who wish to make a footprint in India. For CPA Australia, Preeti has been a local on-the-ground resource. She has immensely contributed to establish the presence of CPA Australia in India, in addition to facilitating numerous business development activities in the country. For this program, they have also identified one CPA Australia member also. He is on his way from here to here, so that he will also share his expertise, experience. Moreover, it is not an expertise, experience of beginning Australia, CPA Australia. So with this a formal welcome address to these dignitaries, I once again welcome you for Chennai as well as SIRC premises, madam. I hand over the proceedings to them, and you may ask, apart from whatever it is available in the website, whatever your personal questions are there, feel free to clarify. At the end of the day, you should feel satisfied that you have complete details about the CPA Australia MRE, and they should also have a satisfaction that they have addressed a knowledgeable crowd about the CPA Australia. Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction.
Good evening, everyone. Nice to see you, everyone, after the work. I know sometimes very tough because you get captured in the work, and that's obviously a priority. Sir has already given my introduction, so I'll just quickly talk about. My name is Preeti Dang, and I'm the business head for CPA Australia in India. I take this opportunity to thank the Institute of Chartered Accountants and also the SIRC branch for giving me the opportunity to talk about the mutual recognition agreement. So just wanted to check with you, so before coming for the session today, have any of you heard about there's a MRA signed between both the institutions? Good to know that. And so this has been almost a decade. So we signed in 2009. We sort of revisited the agreement in 2014, and then it's under the with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Just looking for some inputs, and we'll be signing. So we have our CEO for CPA Australia coming to India in the first week of December, and we'll be formally re-signing in Mumbai with the current president. So today's sharing is going to be around the CPA Australia's position in the world, briefly talking about the emerging accounting trends in Australia, and also the pathway. For example, if a chartered accountant wants to pursue a CPA program, how do you do that, and what are the basic requirements? CPA Australia is one of the world's largest accounting bodies. We have about 1,64,000 plus members around the world. We have with over 25,000 members are working in the senior leadership positions, and more than 10,000 of those are CEOs and CFOs. In fact, 40% of our members sit outside of Australia. So what it means to you as an aspirant is, it's a global designation. Just because it says CPA Australia, you don't necessarily have to look from a perspective, it's only recognized in Australia. We are there in 150 countries present in terms of the membership. We are one of the oldest, we are 132 years old organization. In countries like Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia, our presence has been more than 65 years. So we have offices in 19, so we have 19 offices in branch locations. We have about 470 recognized employers. So what does it mean to you as an aspirant? Obviously it's a global designation. If you move around in any part of the world, we have offices. You have so there's a member support available. Just in case you're doing the program, just in case because of the organization wants you to move to another country, you need not worry about that. You still continue with the program. And the 470 employers that we have gives you the opportunity to work with these industry, with these organizations, any part of the world. So primarily, all the big fours, all the financial services companies, banks are recognized employers. So this is a small snapshot of the recognized employer partners. So employers across the globe respect CPA members for strategic thinking, technical skills and professional values. Some of them like EY, Deloitte, ANZ, some of that you can see it on the board, has been the recognized employed partner with us for ages. In fact, this obviously we can't put over the list here, but just in case you're working in industry and you want to see if your organization falls under the RAP, which you call it as Recognized Employer Partner, you can get in touch with the HR and then let them know about that you are a CPA member. Just in case they do not recognize, please feel free to get in touch with me, because what we're doing for the past at least 1.5 years, we've been actually talking to all big fours and companies and letting them know that we have members who are present in India. So their designation should be well regarded and respected. Just sharing a little accounting landscape today. I'm sure everybody knows about with the technology things, what is the requirement from the employer's perspective. So most of you would agree with me that the role of accountant is moving, further from the stereotypical image or just the bookkeeping, right? Technical skills are important in the accounting profession due to the compliance nature of the services, but they're no longer enough to satisfy the demands of the business environment. So accountants are and always be critical support to the organizations, but the roles are changing. They're looked at more as a strategic advisors, and that is the role that CPA members actually play. So if I look at our program, a CPA program work on 3 main categories, which is strategy, leadership, and business. So the role of analyzing and interpreting of the data has become more crucial, and this is what I'll come on the slides later. But through the subject that you're going to be, we ask you to sort of go through us is the global strategy and leadership, and that is the differentiation of we all understand here. Everybody sitting here, you obviously put in a lot of efforts to. It's one of the toughest programs that you've actually cleared. We know you're expert from a technical perspective, but when looking at a business strategy point of view is something, even your institute realizes it, that it is something very, very important. Even if you're not looking at a global mobility, the things are obviously changing in India as well. So some of the areas you may want to sort of look at it in just in case you're also thinking of moving outside of India or working in India is, I would say, even the cross-cultural competencies So just before you decide to move, I think having a good understanding about how really Australia works is something very, very important. We had some of the knowledge sharing. We had CPA members who were actually working in Australia. They did share about the difference of obviously the culture in the country. So understand before you land in a soil, it's obviously good for you to have a more understanding in terms of what is the cultural difference, because then it's much easier to sort of adapt to the new environment. Accounting is the purpose of this slide is to show that accounting is a large employment sector that is strongly growing. According to the Department of Employment, accounting is one of the professions with the strongest growth in the immediate and the long-term future. As of now, there are about 188,000 accounting professionals working in different sectors in Australia. In fact, a recent Macquarie report says that even the full-time students who've actually done just the full-time program, like a master's qualification, are finding a lot of difficulty to get jobs. The reason because the professional programs is one of the requirements in Australia, whether you do it with CPA or the other two professional bodies which are there in Australia, because that is one of the mandatory requirement for any job that's coming out of Australia. So something probably you may want to consider. More than 30,000 job openings are expected by 2020. These are some of the designations that our CPA members carries around the world. So we are one of the few professional bodies where the program is at the postgraduate level. So the mandatory requirement is anybody outside of, if somebody is not a chartered accountant as well, they have to undergo a graduation program before they actually come and pursue the CPA program. But we still have a foundation program. So we're a little different the way ICI sort of have a learning levels. The level that we have is a foundation, and then we call it a CPA program. Now, why foundation? Foundation is just for the students who are actually coming from a non-commerce background. So what we've seen globally, there's a trend for the last few years that has changed, that we see a lot of people from a STEM background coming into accounting. And that's one of the reasons we also have a foundation. So just in case they are keen to take up the program, they will have to undergo a foundation and then the professional level, which is a CPA. I'll just quickly run this through. It may not be very, very relevant, but sometimes we have members asking us that what are the other subjects, just in case I want to pursue that outside of the MRA. So we've got, to complete the CPA program, one has to complete 6 subjects. 4 are the core subjects, and then we've got a range of electives from which you can pick up and decide depending on the interest in the functional area that you're working in. So the core subjects are ethics and governance, strategic management, accounting, financial reporting, and global strategy and leadership. And these are some of the elective programs that is on offer. Now the good news is, obviously if you're a chartered accountant, you don't have to undergo this. You don't have to go through the first 3 subjects. The only subject that you need to study is the global strategy and leadership. And alongside, there's an online module which is a better practice in governance and accountability. So this is the only commitment that one has to complete the CPA program. So one of the requirements, I'll go on to the requirements later. So as we talked about the global strategy, so the aim of the subject is to link the technical knowledge to the concept of strategy and leadership. The subject addresses the needs of accountants operating in different international markets and in varying roles, and how they can use the business information for decision making and leading the strategy. So this is the basic overview of the global strategy. What you require to do is, while you're studying in the program, you require 15 hours of study request or requirement in a particular week. So an additional requirement would be, additional time is required only if you don't have too much knowledge or you are fresh out of the university. You may need to spend some more time. But we advise 15 hours of study per week throughout the semester. So examination is an open book examination. I don't know whether that really makes you happy about that, but unfortunately I don't think it's a great idea, though just in case you're looking at flipping through the papers. The idea why we have open book not just in India but across the globe is just for the referencing purpose. So because the examination is more so case study based. So just in case you want to just refer to something on a certain page, but that can happen when you have actually studied whole of the subject and you know which papers to look for what. So if that is the case, you can obviously refer to the book. And the examination is a formal examination online, but you have to physically be at one of the centers to take up your examination. We have a module waiting, so you have a So while you're studying the subject, you will actually have an idea about, how much time do I need to spend? So I don't know. So when I start with my studies, do I spend too much time on the topic 4 or 5? So this is the weightage that we have already indicated to all the students. So while you're studying, you know that obviously your major interest or the spending time would be on the module 5 and also module 3 and 2 as well. So now why I'm just talking in detail on that, because the examination is a scale-based exam. So which means you need to score minimum of 60% to clear the subject. But still, if you have scored 60, if you haven't completed or not cleared one of the modules, you may have to bear. So we advise and request all the members who are joining the program with us to go through each and every module in detail. The topic is it's not new to you, so that this is another module that which has to every member has to go through. It's an e-learning module, so you can do this sitting at home. You don't necessarily have to come to center to give your examination. Once you enroll and pay for this subject, you get about 365 days to complete this subject. Whereas for the other one, it sits within the semester. So we have 2 semesters in a year. We have a January and a July semester. So if you're interested for global strategy to enroll in, it has to be only around when the enrollments are open for the semester. Between those times when we have a break for one semester or the other, we encourage you to complete this module. Right, so what is the requirement? So if everybody present here is a chartered accountant, obviously you are eligible to enroll in the program, but we still have certain criteria, certain requirements. So what you need to do is, as a first step, you have to go back to the institute and request for a letter of good standing. As I said, because the MRA has been placed for the last 10 years and very, very active for the last couple of years, you need not worry, just write to the concerned person at the institute. We will share those details as well. There's a regular format there's a template that you need to fill send it to them. They will check if you're meeting all the regulatory requirements, your CPD hours and so forth. They will share a letter of good standing. So even if you come to me with all your certificates and you cannot get a letter of good standing, we'll have to give you a sorry figure and we will not be able to enroll you in the program. So that's the first step. So I'll encourage everybody interested to go back to the institute and request for a letter of good standing. Once you have that, then you need to log in onto CPA Australia website. Create your, with the login ID password, you upload all your documents. So what we require from you is your bachelor's degree and your CA degree and your mark sheets. Even for bachelor's, we would require degree and mark sheets. I'm sort of reiterating on that because sometimes we think that obviously if I've submitted degree, take it as that I have completed, I don't need to submit the mark sheets. But if you don't do that, we will not give you the outcome of your assessment. So mark sheet is all years. So if you've done a BCom, then you have to give 6 semesters mark sheet. All have to be uploaded along with your CA mark sheets and your degree certificate. Everything needs to be properly labeled and uploaded. Just in case anybody of you sitting here do not have a bachelor's degree, need not worry. We also have an option for you. You can actually substitute that with 5 years of experience. And just in case you've done from IGNU, we consider that. So need not worry on if you've done a 1-year bachelor's degree from IGNU. We do consider, but then that is not the, it doesn't fulfill the requirements. You still have to produce 5 years of experience. So that is one of the requirements for sure. So I've gone through this, but this is again I'm reiterating, these are some of the things that we are required to submit. Why I mentioned here is you nominate the institute as a professional body. Reason being, what we've seen in past when members are uploading their documents, they upload the ICI certificates and mark sheets under the academic education. So it is different. The academic qualification is your bachelor's. Your professional qualification is your ICI, because what happens is the moment you put that under the education qualification, because obviously we also use artificial intelligence, it will automatically tell you to do all 6, because it can only pick up something which is submitted in the professional qualification, because MRA is with the institute there. So I would appreciate everybody if you can just put it under the professional qualification. This is a promo code. We're running it for a month. You can take a note of it, otherwise also we will share it on the email. So this promo code is for everybody sitting today here can get the exemption of $164 as an application assessment fees. So you need not pay the assessment fee, that has been waived off for you. And just in case, for example, if you not necessarily decide today or maybe within a month's time, and you try to use this code and it's not working because it's expired, Babita should be able to help you with those details. This is our enrollment period. We take some time for us to get back to you after the assessment. So it takes about close to about 15 working days. But as you go closer to the dates, which is December and January, may take longer because that's the global enrollment period. So we get applications from around the world at that moment. So a CPA program is a self-learning program, which is distance education, but we have lower support available online. So recently we have partnered with Knowledge Equity to deliver the suite of guided learning resources. This is in addition to the online support which CPA Australia provides through so we have a community through which you can actually chat with the unit chairs and all the members around the world studying that subject. So we respond back to your query in about 24 to 48 hours, which is available, and so that is an active forum. So for instance, while you're studying, you have a query, you can actually post on that forum. But even if you don't have a query, I mean, I encourage everybody to go online and go through the previous discussions, because sometimes you may not have it, but because there's already discussions happening, you can just run through those discussions as well. You can download the study notes. There are mid-end semester tests. There's a weekly recorded lectures, exam preparation advice, which is obviously everybody is looking at it. So this is some of the efforts that CPA Australia has put through, not just for this subject, but it's available for all the other subjects. In addition, we also have a tuition provider in Bangalore for face-to-face classes, but they have also started the online lectures. So just in case you're not too confident With this support available and you're still looking at an external support, you can feel free to get in touch with Global FTI. They are the registered tuition providers in India. So this is how you do your complete your application. You go, you create your user ID the way we do it on the other platforms. Very simple. So these are some of the exam venues available. So Chennai has one for sure, and just in case you're moving to any other city, just let us know. Changing of the examination cannot be done closer to the dates. That all the dates are available online. Just check before you want to change the examination center. Right. So what's your investment? Right. So if I enroll, what do I have to spend? So there's an application fees which is $164, which has been waived off for you. So where it happens is when you submit all your documents and when you're doing the assessment, we will come back to you with an outcome letter. So mostly we haven't seen any sort of outcome which is a negative, especially for the chartered accountants. So once you receive a positive outcome from us, it will send you a link to pay and become an associate member. So that's the first step. So immediately you get an outcome, you become an associate member with CPA Australia. So there's a fee of $296, which is a yearly fees. Just in case you haven't decided yet, you want to come back to us later in the year, there's a half yearly fees as well, which is $146. So depending on what time you're enrolling with us or wanting to become an associate member, either you pay a full year or you pay a half yearly. Subject enrollment fees is $1,290 Australian dollars, and there's an early bird offer. So if you enroll now, then you only pay $1,140 Australian dollars. The fee for better practice and governance and accountability is $240 Australian dollars. So there's no hidden cost. Everything is inclusive of the fees, whether it's the study materials, whether there's an examination, everything is inclusive. I would request not to look for any study guides outside because CPA Australia strictly does not have any tie-up with any publishing bodies or organization. So the content is, the materials are actually coded to your preferred communication address by our headquarters, which is the Melbourne office. So even we don't send across to any members in India. It straight away comes from there. You also have an access to the online version of it. But even if you don't need that, we will still courier the PDF, the textbooks to you. For the better governance and accounting, governance and accountability, there aren't any textbooks. So you can just download a PDF, go through it, and put an attempt. So what you do is basically you get 3 attempts to clear the subject. So there's no additional fees for it. So I don't know if you have completed any of the e-modules before. So what you do is you try, it's an objective, you complete through, and if you haven't scored well, you still have a chance to do that again. You score well, that's okay, that you have the mark sheet with you. Again, if you think you can score better, you can try another attempt. So there's no fees for that. Within the same fee, which is $240, you have 3 attempts. But with global strategy and leadership, if you enroll in the subject and let's say, God forbid, because of no time, travel, you don't sit for the examination or you don't clear the examination, you pay the fee again, which is $1,140 Australian dollars. You can defer, but there's a deadline before you defer. There's no fees. We carry forward the fee for the next semester. But if you come after that, there's a deferment fees as well. So we encourage everybody to decide before you enroll in the program whether you can give your examination or not. If you think, for example, for your January semester, your examination is going to be in the month of April. And if you think you're too tied up in April, please do not pay for the subject. You can skip that semester and take your and pay for it in the month of July and then take your examination in October. So plan your studies. If you still need any guidance, Babita will be available. So we're based out of Delhi, but we obviously just a phone call away. So the semester enrollments have already started. Uh, so it's 25th of November now, right? We've already started with it. So this time we're just trying with early enrollments. Otherwise it generally opens up way closer to the semester. But we've been getting requests from members across the globe that they need more time to study. So we started about 2 weeks early this time. So enrollments are already on. Early bird date, which is for $1,140 Australian, is 15th of January. So if you're interested, I would appreciate if you can start the process now. Then only you will be able to enroll before the 15th of January. The exam period is between 11 to 28th of April. Now, the way CPA Australia conduct the examination is we give you a window. So, you have this window available between 11 to 28. You can take your examination any day, any time slot which is available. Again, I encourage when you pay for the subject, still on the same day, please schedule your examination. Because if you look at 28th April, you will, so later you join the program, you'll see the later dates been taken away, right? Everybody wants more time to study. So you pay and you schedule your examination. Just in case, though Chennai shouldn't be a problem, but some of the cities like Mumbai sometimes have an issue because there are more enrollments happening from Mumbai and Delhi, and they don't get those dates and time which they probably have interest in. So I encourage everybody to spend some time in scheduling the examination as well. So these are my contact details. Leslie Leo is the regional manager. We have visited Chennai a few times before, done a few sessions. We encourage, in case you have anything, feel free to get in touch. I'm happy to take questions on board. Yes, please. Good evening. Hi, good evening.
I just want to know where your pamphlet distinguishes between the chartered accountants who are formally passed out of the exam and about the MRA, and you were talking about your MRA, CPA and out of the MRA. How does it recognize, what is the difference between people like us who go through your MRA and the others who have done it out of MRA?
So when you're asking from an employer perspective, alright. So if I'm an employer, I don't get to know whether you come through a pathway because you are a CPA member, right? But obviously, so expertise that members may have after going through all the other subjects will be obviously different because they've gone through all the 6 subjects. So what we have seen in past, for the last 2 years that I've been talking to the members, is that if at all you have a plans to migrate, what they do is they complete this program, become a CPA member. Once they decide on the functional area, for example, your interest has always been in, let's say, tax, right? Now, if you want to work in the taxation side of it, and you don't have an idea about the Australia tax, obviously it's going to be a challenge of looking for a job or even getting a job. So we see members then going in and opting for additional subjects. So they can go in for tax, they can go for any other subject that is of interest at a later stage. But then not necessary. We have members because they have pretty much experience in India and also sometimes globally, because if you work for firms like Big Fours and international firms, they anyways give you international exposures. So, and we have seen the trend. Obviously, if you're working for Big Fours, very, very easy to get jobs in Australia within the Big Fours as well. But just in case you're working in a practicing firm and then you're looking at for a global mobility, then some of these subjects would be of interest to you, and I would encourage people to go in for that as well.
So it is only for our own exposure that you go
Yes,
for the other subjects.
absolutely. But as an employer, I will not get to know whether you come through a pathway. You are a CPA member.
And, if my understanding is right, so through the MRA there are only 2 subjects that we need to take.
Correct.
The global strategy is a proper exam which you need to write only at the exam centers.
Correct.
And that will be according to the semester. There is a
Yes.
January semester and April exam,
Yeah.
July and October.
Absolutely.
And the other one, the better practice garments,
Yeah.
that will be, we can take it from our
Home.
home itself.
Yeah. So you just log in. Once you pay for it, you just log in, and you want to attempt, you can do an attempt. I know members who've completed in one day, like they paid and they said, I'm enrolled, and can I complete? I said, yeah, why not? And they come back next day morning, say, I've completed, I've got the marks as well. So it doesn't take much of time. You just have to, there's a PDF which will be shared to you. You can just go through that PDF. I don't know how many pages it is, but
80 pages only, and
Right.
it's a 12 hours CPD module.
so totally depends on your experience to complete that subject.
And how do we strategize this and the other subject? This you said as in a day you can complete. So once we enroll and all the formalities are done, we can appear for this anytime. Is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is valid till when?
So you get 365 days to complete the better practice and governance and accountability. So for global strategy, so for example, you've completed, you've got the outcome, you pay the associate member. Now, because this time the enrollments are open, so obviously you pay for the global strategy and you enroll yourself. And then once you complete that in April, then you can attempt this as well. But then, there's a different permutation combination that members have done in past. So people may want to start with this first, alongside do the global strategy. Somebody would say, okay, let me just finish the better practice. Let's say April is not an apt time for giving my examination. I will try that later. So you can do that. So, and there are members who are already got their visa, they're already migrating, they want to complete ASAP. They even complete in 6 months' time. And actually, one can actually complete in 6 months. So if you're sitting today, if you go to the institute, get your documents ready, upload everything, by I think December 1st week, you'll get everything outcome and you just become a member. You enroll, you give your examination in April, a couple of weeks, you spend your time doing your better practice, by July you are a member with us. So that can be as early as possible, that at the fast track, but it is at your pace. So you are the best judge to decide what's the right time for you.
Hi.
Hi.
Actually, I have already gone through this process and my outcome is already gone.
Okay, congratulations.
In the month of, thank you, got in the month of August actually. I was waiting for the semester to start.
Okay.
So is it a precondition that I have to become an associate? I haven't paid associate membership
Yes.
yet. So is it a precondition that I have to become an associate member, then only appear for the global strategy? Or
Yes, you have to pay the associate membership fee and then you can enroll for global strategy. But if you want to enroll for the better practice, we have 2 fees, member fees and non-member fee.
Okay.
So if you don't want to pay the associate membership fee as of now, you can still enroll in the better practice and governance as a non-member. There's a slight differentiation, but you cannot enroll in global strategy leadership because that sits within the CPA program.
Okay. How about the other additional subjects that you want to take? Any of them for that also?
So no, I don't encourage anybody to do that. Now the reason I'm saying it, for example, let's say you have an interest in strategic management, and you say I want to enroll, then what our system will automatically prompt you to do all 6. So the system does not understand. So what we do is we tell everybody to first complete your global strategy, become a CPA member, and then go and opt for any additional subject if you wish to. But if you start with any other subject, then you will have to go for all the 6. Yeah.
One last question. What next? Let's say if I complete this, let's say are there some specific portals supporting vacancies in Australia? Which tell me what are the vacancies that are in Australia or something like that. From your side, obviously there are other portals around, but from north side.
Right. So what CPA Australia does is we purely believe in giving you networking opportunities. I know we are spoiled by choices in India because of the universities sort of secure 100% placements. So obviously it doesn't work with the professional bodies. But what we do is we have a flagship program called CPA Congress, which we do in all the 19 countries that we have offices in. We encourage people to go attend CPA Congress. That's a very big network opportunity that is available. I'll shortly introduce to Mr. Lakshmi, who's with us today. He's a CPA member. And I think I won't share anything. He's the right person to tell you about how he's used these opportunities, the network opportunities, to even start up his own firm in Singapore. Right. And in addition, the job opportunities, yes, we do provide, because as I said, we 500, close to 500, we have recognized employer partners. If there are job opportunities, we do pass it on to the members. If that works well for you, you can obviously apply for it. But as I even say this, I also would like to inform you that it's a little different that it works in India. So if you're planning to apply for jobs sitting in India and applying for jobs in Australia, I don't think this is the right approach. If you're looking at Australia as a destination for opportunities, I would say you should be there, in Australia to look for that. The reason why I'm saying that is the moment you apply for jobs from India and the employer sees an Indian address, your CV straight away goes in the bin, because they don't know whether you will be able to meet the skills assessment requirements and whether you have a visa, or things like that. So if you don't get that, why should I be extending a letter to you? So you have to parallelly also complete your skills assessments requirement for Australia. So you have to meet your visa requirements. It's not that I have a CPA designation, I simply can go tomorrow to Australia and get a job. You have to meet the skills assessment requirement as defined by the government. So for example, if you want to go as an accountant, you have to meet the accountant requirements from a qualification perspective and the employment perspective as well. So there will be certain years of requirement that is, for CPA. So CPA Australia, as we run the program, we also are a skills assessment organization. So if you're wanting to migrate, you'll have to get your skills assessed, and only if you get a positive outcome, then you can apply for visa and other things. So that is a mandate parallelly that one has to look at.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for the section. My question is, there were two conditions. One, you have to be a member and you will have to have a graduate degree, or you have to have 5 years of work experience. I do not have a graduate degree, and my question is, will articleship period be considered as work experience?
Yes. So 3 years of articleship is considered. We just need 2 more years post your completing your CA.
And the 2 years, should it be relevant X or?
Relevant what?
Should it be relevant experience, or can it be outside finance also?
As far as it's somewhere related to finance and accounting, yes it is. But I'm happy to look at the CV and the functional areas that you worked in to solve the test.
And after becoming CPA, you mentioned about the skill assessment test. Does it mean we have to become a PR and then go and apply for jobs, or how does it work?
Yeah, obviously, you have to meet those visa requirements before you want to apply for the jobs. And as I said to the gentleman here as well, is that applying for jobs sitting in Australia is not the right approach. You should be in Australia and your CV should have an Australian address. So you'll have to, probably spare good and have a little bit of patience when you actually go onto the Australian soil. It can take from 1 to 6 months for people to look for the right jobs. In the previous sessions, we had some of our members who've actually worked in Australia and were sharing their experiences, So one of the experiences that's always been shared with all the members is, don't necessarily look for the similar sort of a job that you're doing. Even if you get an odd job, go for it. One, you have to meet your living expenses. The other is to understand the cultural thing, right? How the companies work in Australia is obviously good for you to pick up some more jobs as well. And then so it depends which part of Australia you're going to. But if let's say you're in Melbourne, Sydney, and wherever we have an office, we conduct regularly networking events. And those are obviously CBD requirements that everybody has to furnish. Join those networking events and talk to obviously Indians as well, but then connect with the Australian. They're best people to help you. And most of the jobs in Australia, if you look at it, is actually taken by through the networks that you have. Your Melbourne chapter, your Sydney chapter is very active and they work closely with us. Sometimes we do joint sessions as well. Just in case you are in any of the cities and you want me to connect, just feel free to write to me. I'll connect you to the right person in our offices and they should be able to send you information that all the members do get, but certainly I can connect you to the right person where you can talk to them and they'll be very, very helpful in sort of connecting you to the right people.
Hi.
Yeah. Alright, hi.
So thank you so much for this session. So what I'm having doubt is, so if I apply for CPA here, will I be able to write the exam in Australia in April in a tourist visa?
Writing an examination is not a problem. You can write with any visa that you have, but you'll have to schedule your examinations beforehand. I mean the timelines that we're given, so you can pick up any country for that matter.
Okay, so I'll be moving to Australia permanently in February.
Okay.
So that should not be an issue because if I'm going to apply it here and then write the exam there, right?
No problems at all. You could do it any part of the world.
So is there any requirements for IELTS actually?
Not for the CPA program, but I think for the visa, yes.
No, apart from that, so I saw on the website that IELTS academic has to be returned for migration assessment or something.
Yeah, so I may not be the right person to talk too much detail in the skills assessment side of it because that's a totally different thing, whereas the CPA program does not have an IELTS requirement. Yes, the skills assessment may have a requirement for an IELTS.
Thank you.
In this section, you were talking about two other accounting bodies.
Yes.
One is this, the other one I've heard is Chartered Accountants Australia and New Zealand. Right?
Yes.
What is the other one that you
There's another one called IPA, Institute of Professional Accounting.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the difference between the CPA and the CA Institute of Australia and New Zealand?
So pretty much different than India. So for example, India only has one institution and where you come out of the institute, you can either decide to work in industry or you can get into practice. Similar is the case in Australia as well. If you complete the program for CPA Australia or whether CANS, which is the CA Institute of New Zealand, you can either get into practice but if you look at the programs in detail, when I started the presentation, we're not very technically focused. So if you look at CAN's program, they're very technically focused. So if you wanted to actually get into the only taxation side of it, I think CAN's is the best program for you. And that's how the students decide in Australia as well. But if you're looking at any other functional area apart from the tax, CPA program can be your best choice. But if you want to, though the question hasn't come from any of you, but so for example, if somebody wants to get into practice in Australia, so once you complete the CPA program, you cannot simply decide to do a practice. For that, you have to undergo a public practice program, which is in addition to the CPA program. And it is not just for CPA, but even for CANS. So you become a CANS member, good, but you cannot practice. You have to take a license. And for that, you have to have a public practice certificate, which is a commitment of about 2 to 3 years. You have to undergo certain modules, and then there's a year and a half sort of component. You need to be physically present in Australia and working for an Australian firm. Alright, so if there's no more questions, me and Babita are still available to answer. Can I just request Mr. Lakshmi to share his experiences?
Australia, when I completed in 2013, I think it's complete. What you try to say is written the exam and completed the exam, and afterwards I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Why I put CPA Australia means that is the year in 2013 or 14. The entire country is actually the vision is towards east, because it's all west is with complete level of saturation stage. So it is always better for you if you go for a blue ocean strategy. So then I chose that one, but to be very frank with you, I openly discussed with Preeti, saying that in 2013, 14 I have completed it. Then I think for the next 3 years, absolutely, it's dark. We don't know where we are going to do, or whether this completing this course itself, academically, yes, there are a lot of value additions, no doubt about it. But practically and for the object and subject oriented, whether we are going in the right directions, it was $1 million question which raised on my mind. Fortunately, I think in 2017, CPA Australia has actually changed the strategy and they are having an eye on India. So then that is the time, even I gave my experience lecture to the students in SIRC, saying about how to handle it, but it was too early for them at the student level to digest this professional course. So of course, after this, this is the next time I'm having an opportunity to share my views in SIRC. So the CPA Australia thing I'm seeing about the people. The moment if you say CPA Australia, then the next question is whether can I get a good job in Australia, or whether I need to settle in Australia. So now, in case if you are having a preset mind, saying that if you are also having other infrastructure facilities, then you can think over about going and settle in Australia. Otherwise, you are having a very good opportunity globally by taking this particular course. Because of the CPA Australia, their plan is go global. That's the idea. Now they have started opening the branches and chapters all over the world. So because of the technological development, you can do a lot by even having in your own country. Or if you want, you can also have, in case if you are in your own practice, then you can have open a unit, and whichever the country it prefers. So now, one thing I need to share with you first, as far as my academic achievement is concerned, and they are talking about now, how many of you has already completed this course, or in the student level? On the student level, yeah. So CS, no, I'm talking about CPA.
Just exploring the
So CPA exploring the opportunity, okay. So if that will be the case, the GSL paper, it is really an interesting paper. Why they prefer GSL is the only paper we want to do something, means it's entirely different. And even in CA course, we are actually planning to, when I'm seeing about some of the subjects, planning to inject some essence from this. Because this is a paper which make you to away from your accounting world. If you take it, when you are completing the course, always our focus is on some compliances, law, auditing, accounting, it is like this. But if you enter into this particular subject, you will have to be away from all those things. You will have to come out from the smaller circle, and that's more important. And the second one is, it appears to be easy. The solutions, the answers for this particular paper is so difficult, because you cannot find out a single correct answer. You are supposed to substantiate your answer for the questions asked. When I was writing this GSL, even the scenario, the examination scenario used to be given 30 days before, which means you are supposed to set your question paper. That was the scenario. But now at least they are changing it You will have to be very well versed in the material, what they are given, and more important is whatever the link, what has been given for which you need to explore lot of things. So if you see the material, it may be running into about say 2000 pages, but each link will actually give an opportunity for exploring a lot of things, because you are supposed to have a wonderful knowledge about the multiple industries worldwide. Some industry may be very successful in one country, the same thing may not be in other countries. So you should be in a position to arrive at some conclusions globally about how to arrive at this particular thing. So that is most important. So apparently it looks like that it is easy, and another thing is it's an open book question. So when I was actually attending this one, even now you are having an opportunity of doing writing through system. So at that time it was a paper. So then it's normally we are almost losing the writing habits. So that was the scenario. You will have to even write, and you will have to make the examiner to convince. So to be very frank with you, like everybody, since it was an open book, so in my first attempt I was so overconfident and appeared the examinations, but I couldn't get through because of want of time, and I don't know how to express because of lot of questions are there. Even to know how to answer, it was a little bit difficult. So that gives an idea for me when I'm appearing on the second sitting, and I'm able to score a super distinction. And that is everything is, it's only an academic achievement. Once it is there, naturally there was also an offer from Australian companies saying that is it possible for you to come and explore. So this you will have to decide whether you need to go to Australia or whether you want to even continue wherever it's. Because as far as the CPA Australia's strategy is, they are coming global. They are having a plan of signing off an employer panel, so in which they need to give an opportunity in the country where you are. And if you are actually working out with some multinational company, yes, certainly you are able to score well if you are also having this particular qualification. So, if coming back to my experience, so even in 2017, then at least I am having some confidence. Okay, by using this one, then we are able to put some efforts into the strategy. So that way, it's easy for me to opening my consulting firm in Singapore. So here, one more thing I need to tell, whether the person is in practice or whether the person is in employment, a technology is a threat for you. And every day, every year, you are supposed to retire. That is the order of the day. You would have seen in all MNCs, you are supposed to throw your job every year, and you will have to once again apply the job. And when this is the scenario, the same thing holds applicable even when you are in practice. So for which this will certainly give you a wonderful platform for you to take you to the next level, different heights. So if you say that, okay, I'm getting this, whether straight away I can get a job in Australia, it's $1 million question, because everything depends upon how your skill sets, whether it is compatible with the Australian requirements. So we'll have to keep this type of things in mind. So mine, since I actually told you, it is actually helping me to away from this accounting thing. So it's easy for me to take into consideration of any companies stepping into the shoes of the management. For example, recently, from IBC core is getting familiar in India, I also become an insolvency professional. So when I am going to take a company, then the board will be suspended, and I am going to be the CEO of the company. So certainly this course will have a value additions for you when you are going to address as a CEO of a particular company. And IBC's over is familiar with them, they can understand. People will have to, once the claim has been accepted, the NCLT has accepted your case, is 180 days, the meter will run. So in the short span of time, as a complete accountant, it is very difficult for you to manage a company. So here this will give, this global strategy paper will throw you a lot of ideas and how to manage this type of situations arises. So even if you are in employment, certainly this will give a wonderful platform for you, because you will be away from the routines, and that is very much required for any industry because of technology disruption. Okay, so certainly in this way the course helped me. So I hope that my best wishes for you, whoever, to ensure that your dream is successful, by associating CPA Australia. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, Mr. Lakshmi, for sharing your experience. I hope everybody present here found this useful. Just in case you have any questions, me, Babita, Mr. Lakshmi is available to answer them one-on-one basis as well. Thank you for coming.